Best camera ever. Best camera ever. Best camera ever.
What I got here is the Sony FX30.
Brand new Sony FX30.
The FX30, which is essentially an FX3.
FX30.
It's a cinema line.
New FX30 camera.
I think this is a great option.
New FX30 camera.
No.
I think this is a great option for video shooters.
Is the a7c dead? With the release of Sony's FX30, I woke up in a cold sweat wondering, had they just killed my beloved a7c? In the imperfect world of camera creation, Sony had gone and created a hybrid cinema camera for the same price point as the a7c. I mean, these price points are identical, and this feeling that I had been duped by Sony really began to sink in. As a father of 4 and a full-time middle school TV production teacher, I had to save for that a7c. And within days of the release of the FX30, YouTube was flooded with reviews.
What I got here is the Sony FX30.
Is the brand new Sony FX30.
The FX30, which is essentially an FX3 with an APS-C size sensor.
My tech desperation began to grow. Had I wasted my time, money, and energy buying the a7c? Is the FX30 really better than the a7c? Now, as a photographer and a video and film enthusiast, the a7c is a great camera with a full-frame sensor. Take that FX30 and your APS-C sensor.
I've never really been a huge fan of APS-C cameras.
I mean, over the last year and a half, my knowledge base has grown tremendously while using the a7c. And shooting and editing in RAW was a huge upgrade from my last camera, which literally was the Minolta X370. At 24 megapixels, you can take a great photo with the a7c, and the FX30 gives you a 2 megapixel bump at 26, which is a nice place, but it's not really astonishing. From a simple photo standpoint, the a7c is a great camera if you fall into the category of beginner, enthusiast, or maybe you're just a professional who wants to downsize to a smaller camera. Then the a7c is for you because its smaller size is great for travel, and it does way less than the FX30. The a7c has photo capabilities in comparison with the FX30, but this can be summed up really well by Gerald Undone.
For those of you that are unfamiliar with the FX3, these cameras have video-first design with the buttons labeled and mapped for useful video functions on a body that slightly resembles a hybrid camera, but with no viewfinder. It does have a shutter button and can be switched to photo mode, but there's no mechanical shutter, and the photo features definitely come second in design priority.
The FX30 is primarily a cinema camera, so by that rationale, the a7c is still...
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
But what about your inner filmmaker or your inner YouTuber? Does the a7c even stand a chance against the FX30? So when it comes to filmmaking or cinema, the FX30 is clearly designed to be used by a budding Spielberg or a Catherine Bigelow. How do I know this? Well, just ask Sony.
And now, we proudly introduce a new addition to the cinema line. Cinema Line FX30.
The FX30 is part of their cinema line. It's not part of their alpha line. And although the FX30 uses an APS-C sensor compared to the full-frame sensor on the a7c, I thought about what Arthur R. said in his review of the FX30.
The whole premise behind this new FX30 camera is to bridge the gap between professional high-end cinema cameras and perhaps some people who are trying to get into that look but don't really have the budget to do so.
Arthur, I couldn't agree more. The FX30 can do some incredible things with Cinetone, log profiles, and the ability to import LUTs. If you know how to use all these features, then clearly the FX30 is for you. As an enthusiast, hobbyist, and YouTuber, the video features of the a7c are a perfect starting line for you to begin and grow your journey in video and photography. Thus, the a7c is still...
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The desire to buy the shiny new FX30 at the same price point as the a7c is high. I mean, who doesn't want the latest and greatest in technology? And it is fun to compare the FX30 and the a7c because it allows us to discover what our needs are as creators. and it helps define what technology we need to bring our creative imagination to life. In creating this comparison, I began to visualize a spectrum. And within this spectrum, there is a range for the a7c as well as a range for the FX30. And where your camera needs are on this spectrum are really determined by who you are as a shooter. As a father of 4 and full-time teacher, the a7c is perfect for me. If you're a college student or a small-time production company, the FX30 could be ideal for you. And after many days of panicking over the release of the FX30, it is safe to say that the a7c is alive and kicking. And fingers crossed, when they release version 2 of the a7c, it'll be a 10-bit camera, it'll have a photo and video switch, it'll have S-Cinetone or whatever log profile is easiest. Hit that subscribe button, smash the thumbs up. My name is Oliver Weah. I am glad this little thing is still alive, and we will see you in the next one. FX30? FX30. No. No.